Thank you. Hello, everybody. It's meteorologist Hutch Johnson. A line of storms heading through the Southern Valley, severe thunderstorm warnings south of the Fargo area and out to the west. We do have some storms rolling right through Grand Forks right now in the Mayville area, under the gun as well. Let's get right to the latest radar here and show you where the active warnings are. Now, if you are in Mayville, on your doorstep is a severe thunderstorm. It is making its way east at about 30 miles per hour. Grand Forks, you have some nasty storms making their way through. See this neat little curl on that? Little bit of spin associated with these storms as they're working their way through, but the main risk is not tornadoes at all. The main risk is going to be some gusty straight line winds to around 60 miles per hour. And we do have a history of some hail upwards of nickel size out in Stutzman County near Spirit Lake as they work their way through. Now, a strong line of storms just south of Valley City taken over for the ones that were moving near Lake Ashtabula. Those are moving by that area. And this storm here has this backward C shape. That is called a bow echo. Winds will be coming at you from the west in that storm. Let's get to the latest in Mayville as the strongest cell is there. Moving east at 30 miles per hour, and it could have 3/4 inch diameter hail and 60 mile per hour wind gusts, 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Now, the core of the storm here showing up just off to the west of Mayville with a little bit of hail. Now, the latest scan coming in through the volume of the atmosphere showing it's about in the same spot. I'm going to go to my more pixelated radar, but this tells Hutch a little bit more. These scans are from the lowest layer of the atmosphere or slice, and give me a little bit more of an idea of what it is we're seeing. Let's go to the Mayville radar. It's right there. So the storm is moving right into the radar cone of silence, as they say, and that storm system there, when it's entering the cone of silence, we can't see much data from it. It's a little bit too close to the radar site, but we do have some strong thunderstorm activity in Portland moving right over the Mayville area right now. Now, this close to the radar, we can sometimes get some pretty good estimates of wind speed as the storm is moving through. Look at this neat little red area here. That is the outflow from the storms there. So let's take a look and a gander at what kind of wind velocities are making their way through. 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts right now near the surface, not terribly bad in Mayville. As we take a look around, as we get out a little bit farther here where we're seeing the pinks, there's your 40, 50 mile per hour winds that are blasting into places and through Reynolds and on towards Climax in the Red River Valley right here, right now. Now, these wind speeds that you're seeing here, close to 50 miles per hour, the radar beam goes up at an angle, so it's a little bit of ways. But I want to share a video with you showing that there is some gusty winds associated with these storms at the very least. And when we get gusts of winds, they can sometimes cause a little swirl. So I want to say a special thank you, first and foremost, here as we go ahead and just uploaded here moments ago as the storms made their way into and around the Grand Forks area. So I really appreciate this in the area west of Grand Forks. Allison, thank you for this. This is a time lapse and it goes by pretty quickly, but I do want to point this out. You can look at the clouds up there swirling around. That's not the main attraction. Look what's going on down by the ground there. Some dust getting kicked up. Now, I don't see a funnel cloud up in the sky that would indicate that we do have a funnel, but there is indeed debris getting kicked up on the ground, likely by a gust of wind from that particular system. What you do is you look up here near the cloud level. There is some spinning going on up here, so I cannot rule it out completely. But thank you, Allison, for sharing that. Gusty winds from these storms mixing down to the surface and at the very least kicking up a little swirl of wind in the field out there as that system made its way through. Now, again, we do have more updates from you. Allison shared a couple other photos here of straight line winds that were kicking up dust and debris along this in the West Grand Forks area, looking southwest side of Grand Forks. So thanks again for your detailed description of where it was you were looking. And this is a telling photo as well. Along the leading edge of the storm here, we have some scary looking low clouds. These clouds are not attached to the thunderstorm base. I would call these a roll cloud, not a shelf cloud. Shelf clouds are attached to the thunderstorm base, and you can certainly see that it's not attached to anything but itself there. How does Kitson County look, Hutch? Let's go ahead and take a look at that radar and give more details on more areas here, because we have some storm warnings that were just issued in and around the Fargo area as well. Let's get to the latest and the latest on the ETA. So again, thunderstorm warning blowing through the Mayville area. Gusty line of wind moving into Buxton and Rendles. Now we'll be moving into the Red River Valley. That severe thunderstorm warning, oopsies, I've got to clear this out. That severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 5:30 or for the next 17 minutes. 60-mile-per-hour gusts and some areas of hail could be near 3/4 of an inch in diameter. Along and south of Interstate 94, we have a line of thunderstorms making their way through. Let me switch back to the regular radar data here. Now, we see the yellows here. That's not super-duper intense hail. Jessica, thank you. Thank you from Otter Tail, Minnesota. I've watched you for some time now. Appreciate you. Thank you. And I appreciate you watching, Jessica. Tracy, good to have you on board. Let's answer your question too for the Northern Valley. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for this area. I am going to switch radars here and go to this one in Aberdeen and take a look and see if we're seeing anything a little bit different. Look at that one out there. There's a lot of intensity to this radar display just south of Lemoore with this cell moving in southeast. The blue box means it's not warned for yet, but it's on that threshold or very close to severe. We're monitoring it carefully. I do think some hail potential from that storm is going to be likely, but the warned storm is now making its way through and out of Catherine and into the Nome area and Fort Ransom. I think I saw somebody saying they were camping out by Fort Ransom. Here come the storms. There is a warning for you, and there could be some gusty winds with this storm. Unfortunately, we don't have a radar right here to look into the storm to tell us exactly how strong the winds are with this particular storm. But suffice it to say, as high as it reached in the atmosphere and doing some calculations, the National Weather Service radar is calculating wind gusts upwards of near 60 miles per hour for isolated locations. Now, there is a little bit of a backwards C shape to this, so some of the strongest winds may be pushing just north of Fort Ransom at this time. If you're at Enderlin or if you are camping out there at Fort Ransom, make sure you're seeking shelter in a sturdy structure away from windows. Again, tornadoes is not the main threat tonight, but let's take a closer look at this cell moving into Fullerton right now, near Menango. This storm here, let's go ahead and get a measurement as the crow flies from Fullerton. Straight north is where the hail core is, 5 miles straight north of Fullerton, but to the northeast, 4.6 miles. This storm is moving east-southeast, and it looks like it's probably moving similar speed as some of the other storms. Let me go ahead and get the details from the Weather Service here. So this blue box is an area of concern for 3/4 inch diameter hail, nickel-sized hail, and 40-mile-per-hour gusts. Now, this storm does have some what looks like increased intensities in the lowest level scans from the Aberdeen radar. So it is fairly strong. Now let's take a look at the velocity inside the storm, and we're not seeing much in the way of spin with it. There's a couple areas of greens and reds next to each other, but I don't see much to be worried about. Michael, what did you notice with the storm there from the Mayville area as it blew right over you? Was there anything interesting? Drop a comment there and let me know. I appreciate all of your input there, and thanks to all of you who've supported Hutch with stars today. Christy, thank you very, very much. I appreciate you. And Laura, thanks for watching. Okay, now as we take a look up here at this storm that's making its way into the Fullerton area, let me go ahead and put on the single site radar. Let me go back over here. I'm going to start messing with a couple of other parameters that I have that I can show here. So give me 1 second while I'm looking this over. We'll look at the radar's detection of hail with this, and there is a little green triangle that just popped up. Now that shows that there's a 90% chance of hail with this cell, but the chance of severe or 1-inch diameter hail is pretty low. It's only 30%. So this storm is going to be capable of producing hail. It could be upwards of about 1/2 of an inch in diameter as it works its way in towards Fullerton. So that's what's going on right now. Now, how long will these storms take to reach the Fargo area? I've been saying close to 7 o'clock, but I just made a post a little bit ago that might be just a little bit before that. These are moving at an average clip of about 30 to 35 miles per hour. Let's see if these are still on track. 37. Speeding up a little bit there, but now as we take a look and measure how far this is from the Fargo area, they're moving not due east, but just a little bit north of east. So this cell here, not far from Enderlin, has a chance at impacting Horace, Fargo, and West Fargo. Will it impact absolutely every part of Fargo? Likely not. So likely, north Fargo, South Fargo, we could have different conditions because whether the thunderstorm cell itself works its way over your area or not is yet to be determined. That said, it's 42.6 miles away. Storm's moving at 37 miles per hour. So we do a little bit of math there, and it's under an hour, and we've been saying close to about the 7 o'clock time frame, but this is about an hour and a half, an hour and 20 minutes away. So we might put this at 640 to 650, and I think that's what I just put on my post if you check it there, and that looks to be it. So if you happen to be out at Ribfest, as we approach 7 o'clock, 6:45 to 7 o'clock, there could be some windy thunderstorms making their way through. That's going to be the number one threat out there. It's going to be gusty straight line winds. So tell a friend, let them know that Hutch is on covering the weather for you. Here's a look at where these storms are going through Kittson County. And right now we see that the strongest of the storms have moved to the north of your area and out to the east as well. Let me go ahead and get up to Kittson County to answer your question. So here's the leading edge of these storms are pushing into western Roseau County right now. We got good old-fashioned rain up there. Hallock, Kennedy still seeing some showers, Helma, as well as Carlstead now. That's the leading edge. We're not seeing a lot of the dark orange or red intensities there, so the northern reaches of the storm are a little less intense right now compared to what we're seeing down to the south. Warren, you have the heaviest of the activity beginning in your area, moving through as we speak, according to the radar. And as you look out on that Highway 2 corridor, Fisher, heading into Crookston, and see this faint little line here? That is a gust front. So if you looked out your window in Crookston, you're going to start seeing one of these low clouds like we saw a picture of just a minute ago called a roll cloud rolling out in front of it. That's what the radar is detecting. That is a leading edge feature where a cloud is being formed along that leading edge called a roll cloud. And that's the indication of where the gust front is. So there's gusty winds blowing through Fisher right now, heading into that general direction of Crookston. Vic says 8 miles west of Reynolds, got 1/3 of an inch. Will we get more? This is about it, folks, for this particular elbow of the storm. But there's just a little bit of spits on the backside of the system working its way through. It'll be a little bit easier to see that on the composite radar. So there is a narrow band, a secondary band of showers associated with the cold front making its way through. Severe thunderstorm warning does continue for the Mayville area, the I-29 corridor out here in Trail County. This storm is moving into the Red River Valley now. Grand Forks, Crookston, a strong cell moving in towards Fisher, is working its way in, but it's not severe. So that's what's going on there. Down to the south, approaching Lisbon is another cell in southern parts of Barnes County and southwesternmost reaches of the Cass County area, rather. So Enderlin out towards your area, a chance at seeing a pretty good gust of wind with this. See this backwards C shape right here? That is an indication of some pretty stout winds that could be blowing out of that particular storm. Fort Ransom, those storms are right over you. And Fullerton, that hail cell is pushing its way down into your general direction right now. So we're not too awful concerned about that risk of tornadoes tonight. That's not the number one threat. Gusty winds with a few of these cells, not many, but a few. And hail up to 1 inch in diameter will be possible. Headed to the racetrack in Fergus. What's the weather looking like for tonight? I'll time this out for you in a minute, but let me go over this real quickly on the radar for our South Dakota viewers from Ipswich to Loyola. A huge blue box has been drawn by the National Weather Service that says anywhere along this area we could see some windy storms. Well, not everywhere, but in the isolated thunderstorm cells that come through, we could see a few of these produce gusts upwards of about 50 miles per hour. The Weather Service says 55 mile per hour wind gusts in a few of these cells, not the entire area. 45 mile per hour easterly movement from the storm motion right now. And basically this weather statement or update will expire at 6:15 in this fairly rapidly changing environment. Okay, now Fergus Falls, as we take a look, the line of storms I just mentioned will be just before 6 o'clock reaching the FM area. Well, that line still hold up when it gets to the Twin Cities around 9 or 10. Let's take a look at the latest forecast because I've got questions for Fergus Falls racers want to know what's going on there. Ribfesters want to know for Fargo. If you're at Ribfest, tap a friend on the shoulder, tell them Hutch is broadcasting live and tell them they can get the latest. Oh, Jeremy says he's calling that they're going to break up and go around the FM area. That's not what happens. They don't break up, but the individual cells will generally move through the area. And what looks like they break up and move around us happens, but that's because As the radar beam is going away from the radar, it expands and gets wider. So a small thunderstorm looks like a bigger, wider thunderstorm. So it fills in the entire area with thunderstorm activity, when indeed we just have isolated areas of thunderstorm activity. That's why Hutch likes to use this more pixelated version to pick out where the individual cells are. One here, one here, one here, one here. Those are each 5 to 10 miles apart. Definitely loud thunder, says Michael. Thank you very much for that. We do have some thunder moving into northern Cass right now, and lightning right there being detected on the Lightning Detection Network. And on Hutch's display, you can see 2.051 picojoules of energy was taken out by that flash 5.2 minutes ago. And then there's a little bit older flash about 12 minutes ago, not too far from the same area. Other than that, we do see some of these cells working their way through. Now, as we time this out, I still think Fargo sees these just before the 7 o'clock time frame. And as we take a look at how far these are from the Fergus Falls area, there's no guarantee that Fergus Falls gets hit. Notice that there's not complete filling in of the thunderstorms into South Dakota. Crookston as well wanting to know. Tom, I hope you're doing well, friend. You know what? Some thunder showers moving through. There's the wind line. You see that faint little wind line? A gust front is approaching Crookston now. So you're going to notice that northwest wind picking up. And it could be briefly strong, and then the gusty thunderstorm will move through. Will it be severe? There is a chance of that, but the best chance will be on the south side. There is a pretty fair amount of heavy thunderstorm activity moving into Fisher. Fergus. These cells are 111 miles away. They're moving at about almost 40 miles per hour now. So you can do the math, and that's 80, 120. That's 2.5 to 3 hours away. So we're still looking at 7, 8 o'clock. Yeah. So in about that 8 o'clock time frame before they make their way to Fergus Falls. Had a question about the Twin Cities. So let's go to the model for that, model guidance, so Hutch doesn't have to try to do math in his head. Let's see which model has the grasp on this storm that we want to see. Here is the latest rapid update or rapid refresh model, and it looks like it's doing a pretty good job, and it's showing these storms pushing into Fergus Falls. You got to kind of look at the map close with Hutch. Here's the finger, and that's on Fergus Falls. There's Pelican Rapids. There's Detroit Lakes. So the storms will be approaching as we go towards 01Z, and that is 8 p.m. So I said closer to 7, and I think that that'll probably be the case. These are accelerating a bit, and that sometimes does happen, as I've been mentioning here. But so I think that by the time we get close to 7:30 or so, those storms will be moving into Fergus Falls. Will they still be some severe? There's a chance, but notice how the radar here tends to decrease the intensity of these cells. Now, as we go, let me pop this backwards just a little bit. So there is 8. There's 9 o'clock moving into Bemidji. They might be a little bit earlier getting there. And then we'll see these continue to work their way out towards Walker, Leech Lake, and up here out this to the Rainy Lake area. And now what about the Twin Cities? Look at that. It does show a chance of thunder as we go towards 7Z. That's 2 a.m. So it's going to be really late before they make their way into the Twin Cities, according to this model. Let's verify that with the other model that I've been using for the last couple of days and couple of storms, because it's done a reasonably good job. And here is the storms making their way through Otter Tail County right here. That's 3Z. So that would basically be about 7, 8, 9, 10. That's about 10 o'clock. So this model is a little bit too slow with the storms, but the line looks very similar. Okay, so and it's slow by a couple of hours. This one also does not show widespread activity in and around the Twin Cities. Brandon says it looks like the storms are moving to Moorhead by 6 p.m. Oh, well, let's take a look at that, because that's pretty important territory. It's 5:27. Are they a half an hour out? Let's see. Let's see. Arthur by 6 p.m. This one here. Let me go to this one. Enderlin 5:30. I think it's a little while out yet, Brandon. They would have to really pick up some intensity here, but let's see how far away they are. So let's go ahead and zoom back in. I do think just before 7, like 6:45 or so, but let's take a closer look at the math we got going on here. These cells are moving at about 30 miles per hour. Let me turn this line off if I can. Okay, so the National Weather Service says they're moving about 37 miles per hour. Let me turn the radar back on here. Okay, 37 miles per hour, and the storm distance from Fargo right now is, drum roll please, Okay, it depends on what part of Fargo you're in, but I'm going to time it out to the West Fargo area when it first starts getting here. It's about 40 miles away, moving at 40 miles an hour. It's 1 hour away. It's now 6:30. Okay, so I think 6:30, 6:45 will be when those storms make their way in. Heather, thank you very, very much. And Brandon, thank you for having me reanalyze that, because these storms do change speed quite a bit, and sometimes we got to keep our eyes on that. And we can have new development out here from the gust front as well that could cause, well, an early ETA. So keep that in mind, and thank you for the heads up on that. I do appreciate it very much. Oaks, wow. Okay, so we still have a fairly stout thunderstorm working its way out toward the Oaks area right now. As we take a look at that, well, that's not going to help me. Let me go ahead and analyze this one too. Moving south and east here towards Oaks, it's 12 miles away. So now let's go ahead and manually track this guy. Moving at about 35 miles per hour. Let's see, I might have to do this. There we go. Okay, so this one should be near Oaks at about 5:51. Cogswell by about 6:17. Gina, thank you so very much for sharing stars. So this is not a severe storm, but it does look like it's heading in the general direction of Oaks with some gusty wind potential and the possibility for a little bit of that good old-fashioned heavy rain or maybe some small hail. Oh, okay. The National Weather Service has issued a special weather statement. We'll get up on that here in just 1 second, but let's go ahead and take a look here. Loading up my spatial tools. There we go. Okay, now I got to close that, minimize that, clear that. All right, let's see if I can. All right, here we go. Okay, so we've got a special weather statement issued by the National Weather Service for, look at this line of storms right here, has exited. It's on the right edge of this box. There it is. There's the new special weather statement. So in all likelihood, the severe thunderstorm warning for Trail County will expire. There it went. And now it's being replaced with a special weather statement. That means not expected to be severe along this area in Crookston, Tom. As we take a look at that gust front, it's in Crookston right now on the west edge of town. See that light green line here? That's the gust front. That should be associated with a cloud called a roll cloud, or some sort of a cloud associated with that front along the cold air. You're going to notice a drop in temperature as that cold front and that gust front makes its way through. It looks like it's right through climax now. Your wind might switch from southerly or southwesterly to northwesterly when that gust front makes its way through. Betty, thank you so very, very much for sharing stars with Hutch. I appreciate it. Lynn says rain, beautiful rain. We definitely needed it. How about Holly? When will the weather hit? About 6:40 for Fargo, West Fargo, and Holly just about, well, you know, it takes a good 20 minutes at 60 miles per hour to get to Holly. So that'll be a little bit after that, probably close to about the 7 o'clock time frame, maybe just past. That's my estimate there for you, Nicole. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Ann, for your watching as well. Michael, thank you much. And let's take a look at this storm moving into the Buxton area right now. So from Buxton and Hillsborough, this is what the latest special weather statement was issued for. I see clear indications of a backward C shape here, so that's where the gustiest of the winds are. Oftentimes, some of the strongest winds are at what we call the apex of that right here. So we could have some pretty stout thunderstorm winds gusting across I-29 right now, right in this area. How fast are they? I can tell you, we can get an excellent estimate from the Doppler radar right now by looking at the velocity field, because it's right in line with, it is exactly in line with the direction the wind will be blowing. These winds will gust at you from the west. So we can look into the storm and the radar can calculate the wind speeds that this storm is producing. It is above the ground. This is not necessarily what's reaching the ground, but it does give Hutch a great idea of the magnitude of some of the winds with this storm. I do see some 50s popping up here every once in a while, 55 mile per hour gusts. Let's go in a little bit closer to these pinks. The pinks are where we're going to see some of the strongest gusts. So right here at that apex of the bow, where I was telling you, is where I'm seeing some of the strongest wind speeds. And then anywhere along here, I'm getting some winds up to 55 miles per hour in here. So that's what's just off the surface, and that's what could be mixed down to the surface with some of the rain collapsing out of these storms. And it can be even a little bit faster if that rain cools the air. It cools, becomes more dense, and collapses faster. So there is a chance that we could approach those 60 mile per hour wind gusts with the storm. Here's that leading gust front moving into Crookston, by the way, Tom, and it looks like that gust front is accompanied by 52.5 mile per hour winds, Tom, I'm going to recommend you hold on to your hat up there. Ashley, thank you very much for watching. Samantha, thank you for watching as well. That's what's going on. Let's see, looking a little gray and windy here in the Oaks area. Thank you, Samantha. So the wind measurements, we can't do as good of a job because there's not a radar that's looking right into the wind, but some gusty, windy potential with that storm making its way out of the area of Lemoore is pushing your way for sure. What about this storm now that's moving to the right edge of the warned area, south of Buffalo, south of Castleton here into Enderlin? What did that storm produce? If you have some reports for us, that would be very healthy and helpful. Let's go ahead and take a look at what is, whoopsies, I pressed the wrong button there. Okay, let's take a look at the storm warning here. This storm warning is for 5:45, so for the next 13 minutes or so, 3/4 inch diameter hail, gusty wind to about 60 miles per hour. It's gone through Fort Ransom, Fingal, and Nome, and it's on its way through Enderlin and Shelton and Alice right now. With regard to that storm, let me go to the Aberdeen radar. It is a pinch closer to this particular storm. It might give me a little bit more detail on it as it's working its way in. I'm not seeing anything. Well, it's going to be looking across the beam, so we're not going to get a lot of real good wind data from this particular storm just because of the direction it's moving and where the radars are located. But what we can tell you is that the radar intensity for the storm is producing some thunder and lightning, which we just heard. Ooh, that's probably this baby right here, this strike right here outside of Page. Did we hear that? In and around the Fargo area, that flash was 36 seconds ago. I did just hear some rumbles not that long ago, so maybe that's the one that caused Hutch's ear to go, was that lightning? Yeah, it was. Enderlin, you've had a couple of flashes in the last 3 or 4 minutes just outside of town there as well. So that's what's going on. Oaks, you got that storm making its way in. Here it is. This looks like just a straight line of a thunderstorm activity making its way in. There is the possibility for some 3/4 inch diameter hail from this cell and a possibility for some gusty wind as well as they make their way through. So storms are now in western parts of Cass County heading towards Fargo. Will they hit all of you fine folks out there enjoying some ribs right now? Well, they're going to be moving through here. So that's what's going on in our neck of the woods. And they're going to be moving through here about 6:45 or so, right through the area of Ribfest right now over there at the Fargo Dome. So keep that in mind. Here's a look at the regional radar. Let me show you that real quickly. Have a couple of thunderstorm cells firing up on their own now in and around the Minneapolis area. So I just said this line doesn't look like it'll impact you until later, but we are seeing a pretty good little thunder shower. Look at this developing right over the metro area. This one could be heat island related, where the heat built up right over the metro area, rising air over the concrete jungle of the metropolitan area of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and then thunderstorms aplenty started forming right in that area, just right over the city. Isn't that not cool? That'll blow a forecast almost every time. Elsewhere across the nation, we have a line of thunderstorms working their way into western parts of Illinois, right along the boundary there with Missouri and Quincy, Illinois, Peoria, Illinois, and Springfield, Illinois. The risk of severe weather down near St. Louis. They've had just a terrible spring and now early summer of weather, a couple more tornado warnings in the last couple of days. We do have some strong thunderstorms on the west edge of St. Louis. Bloomington, Indiana, and southern Indiana seeing some strong thunderstorms. Okay, and now we got an air quality alert, as we were talking about and alluding to as well. Look at this. Knoxville, Tennessee, a Boeing line segment of storms working their way out. Very gusty straight line winds from Knoxville straight down towards areas north of Macon and Atlanta right now. The ATL seeing another line of storms moving through. Here's the main event moving towards Athens right now out there down in the southeastern United States as strong storms impact that area. So we do have some storms across the area. As we take a look at the risk of severe weather, look at the west tonight. Very quiet there. Here's the Storm Prediction Center's analysis of where the risk for thunderstorms that will be severe will be the greatest tonight. And it looks like a good old, this looks like a fish. So we got a fish swimming through the southeastern United States, enhanced risk of severe weather right out here in Montgomery and out towards northern parts of Georgia tonight, and a slight risk of severe weather in the yellow areas, including North and South Carolina, parts of eastern Kentucky as well. as eastern Tennessee. The green areas, that's a level 1 for severe weather, and that's what we have here in the northern plains. So Missouri, those storms moving through St. Louis, not expected to be widespread severe in that area. So that's what's going on right now. Let's see, high from the cities. It's sprinkling here. Jericho sprinkling 1 minute ago. There's some mighty strong looking thunderstorms forming in and around the Twin Cities right now. Likely due to what we call the heat island, the concrete jungle, all the asphalt building up the heat, and thunderstorms look like they just fired up there in the last little bit of time. So that's what's going on there. I will go ahead and take one more look at these storms, and I'll probably take a break here, and I will be back as the storms approach the Fargo area. But what's Hutch's gut telling him right now? Let's go back to the Mayville radar, because I think I have the other one on down in South Dakota. Okay. Stronger storms making their way out of the Trail County area, crossing I-29 right now. This is Hillsboro to Buxton. These storms are strong. They're creating an outflow of wind that's passing through Crookston. Rain moving into Crookston now, not severe, but gusty. We do have some small hail potential from these cells, but the hail potential seems to have winded down over when we first started covering this a couple of hours ago. Look at this. Northern Cass County seeing weaker thunderstorm cells right now moving into Arthur, between Arthur and Page. A little bit of thunder and lightning there. And here is a cell that's near the Alice area. Let's see if I can analyze this. The National Weather Service says this storm here. Well, let me see if I can move this over so you can read with me. Okay, let me move the box over. When in doubt, just move the whole box. Okay, so this line of storms is in Alice right now. And notice it's hit and miss, right? So it's going to be near Alice now. It's going to be near Enderlin by a minute from now. Leonard by about 6 o'clock. This line that you see here in Alice will be near you. So at 6 o'clock, it'll be moving into the Leonard area. What about Horace? 6:30 for Horace. And then as we get into Fargo, it'll be after that. About 6:45 is what I've been saying. But look at this. The strongest of the thunderstorm activity is diving south a bit. That's good news for ribfesters right now, but I'll keep you posted right here. You're watching Hutch's Weather. Have you used hutchesweather.com? Well, I will share with you that some of you have today, and I appreciate each and every one of you that have taken the time to check out hutchesweather.com and upload your photos. So right now on hutchesweather.com, we have what's going on in the area. A line of thunderstorms moving through. There's Minneapolis thunderstorms, boom, developing right over the metro area. This line is going to be moving through Fargo here as we go through the 6 o'clock hour, get closer to 7. It'll be moving through about 6:45. If you're in Wahpeton, Breckenridge, it'll be just a little bit later than that, and likely by about 40 minutes. So maybe about that 7:30 time frame. Same thing for Northeast South Dakota. These will continue into Minnesota. There is some hot air out here. And on hutchesweather.com, if you click on the weather viewer pictures right there in the upper left-hand corner, or you sneak down here, you'll see this. You can view the gallery or upload your own photos. I'd appreciate each and every one of you taking the time if you have some photos to share, like these ones going on here in West Grand Forks when the storm moved through. Allison capturing this. Look at those winds reaching the ground, kicking up dust and dirt as well. And Allison, I don't know if you had a report. You can share that through email or any other way, but you did share this video with me. Watch the clouds up top when I put the video into motion, the time lapse. Watch them. You see the spinning going on in and around the cloud level? Okay, that doesn't always make its way down to the ground. And we certainly don't see a funnel cloud anywhere in here that I can detect. I'm looking close. But see this little swirl of dirt? Watch that area. Now, pin your eyes on that area. And you know what? It could just be a little dust devil. Boom. It is rolling right across the field right there. Like that. So some wind from the storm is in contact with the ground and kicking up some dust. There was even a lightning bolt detected in there as we start the video. Watch right over here and you'll get to see a little bit of everything with that storm right there. So swirling clouds, dust getting kicked up on the ground, and a lightning strike. Allison, thanks for taking the time to upload your photo. And I can barely bear to share this one with you, but Sharon in the Sharon Harwood in Shevlin, not in Harwood, but in Shevlin, shared this view of the hungry boo-boo bear out there asking if there's any honeypots available anywhere close by. Keep your distance. Keep your distance. That's a good idea. And how about this? Just a darling shot from rural, that's fun to say, rural Gary, Minnesota. And look at the baby. Oh, so beautiful shots out there. Thanks. Keep them coming. And for now, I'm going to step aside. We do have storms heading in to the FM area. Small, big Small Town Big Time says, hey, Hutch, are the storms making their way to Crookston? Yeah, you should be getting some rain now in the Crookston area. Got a tornado warning in Kentucky, says Misty. We were looking at some of those storms out to the far east, out there in Kentucky. So if I go back out here, boom, shazam, there's Kentucky. Okay, so Kentucky's going there right now, but I don't see a tornado warning right now. Maybe I'm a little late for that. Maybe that was earlier in the day. There is a lot of strong thunderstorms, though, moving through northern Georgia, Athens, and those areas right now, and out south of Jacksonville and the North Carolina area, seeing some thunderstorms. A cold front making its way into our area right now is going to bring thunder showers to some, not all areas. One or two of these may produce big gusts of wind up to about 60 miles per hour. I have yet to see a report of hail over an inch in diameter, but we did get some nickels reported out there at Spiritwood. Thanks for your reports. I will be back momentarily with updates right here. Storms will continue to progress east tonight. If you're in Lakes Country, beware. One, maybe two of these storms could become severe, so you want to know where you can go to stay safe. Report any severe weather, damage, or hail to your local authorities. They pass that information on to the National Weather Service. See you back in a bit, Hutch. Keep up the great work. Electra Glide Eric FTW. Thank you very, very much for the kudos. We will be back in a bit. For now, have a good evening. And you know what? Just stay informed tonight. Check out hutchesweather.com. Make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Working hard to make it look good on your big screen TV, broadcasting my streams in 1080i. So check. Well, I think we got us a few pieces of information coming in on Hutch's phone. I'll sort through all of it. I see no new active warnings other than the one in southwestern Cass County. I will keep you updated as the storms approach Fargo Moorhead. For now, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson, and until next time, stay tuned and stay safe.